Hello, how you guys doing? I hope all is well this evening. You are at the Messy Sweet Spot, and I'm your host, Gigi. I have some devastating news to bring to you all regarding Diddy. Yes, he's been hit with multiple lawsuits. And honey, when I tell you this lawsuit that is coming forward with a 10-year-old and a 17-year-old boy, two males are coming forward and speaking out. The 17-year-old speaks out talking about making it with the band. As you guys all know, Diddy had a reality show where he would get so many young talent to come to audition for him to be a part of this reality show where they were making a band. Okay, and so many young people were so influenced to try to get it there. And the 17-year-old boy, he auditioned, and they are telling me in the lawsuit that Diddy pointed him out and said, I want to speak with him. Actually, he spoke with every single candidate in private, but they said with him, the 17-year-old boy, he wanted special treatment when it comes to him. So he talked to the 17-year-old boy, and he says, how bad do you want fame? And the 17-year-old says, I really want it bad, Diddy. And it's sad that these kids are selling their souls to become famous, and it all has to do with fame. And Diddy said, are you sure? So they said the first day for the 17-year-old, Diddy, he was touching him in places he should not touch him. And, the 17-year-old felt so uncomfortable. He was nervous. He didn't understand what was going on, but he just knew maybe this is the sacrifice he had to make in order to make it famous. So Diddy said, okay, well, I want you to come to callbacks, okay? So they came back. The 17-year-old boy came back for the callback to audition. And he thought the worst was over, but it was not. They said it was a security guard with Diddy and his 17-year-old, and they gave him some drinks. And next thing you know, the security and Diddy was taking turns going to Pound Town on this 17-year-old, okay? And I doubt the 17-year-old ever made it to fame. And this is how it works. They lie, they trick young people that is so easy to be influenced, that is so easy to be led astray, and then they throw them away. And the 17-year-old speaks out, and they said that, their life has been devastated. The world has went upside down, and now they are willing to tell their truth. Also, it was a 10-year-old. Could you believe it? A 10-year-old. Yes. When you're dealing with a monster like Diddy, I believe that anything is possible. Well, the 10-year-old said that it was an audition as well. And I guess the 10-year-old wanted to be a rapper into the music. And it's the same scenario. Diddy says, how bad do you want it? And the 10-year-old boy said, really, 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 really want it really bad. And at this time, the parents trusted Diddy to leave the 10-year-old boy alone with Diddy at the hotel. And we hear these stories often. We hear about R. Kelly. The reason why R. Kelly had so many, time with so many of these kids, because their parents allowed it. These parents give their kids up to these artists, thinking that they're going to take care of them and they're going to get famous, and the parents want to check out of it, okay? And they said this is what this same scenario with the 10-year-old boy. Unfortunately, Diddy gave him some soda. The 10-year-old boy rapped for Diddy for quite some time. Then Diddy did what he does. He's a demon butt bandit. So he went inside, the 10-year-old after he was knocked out from them drugs when he put it in that soda. So they said the boy, he woke up from the sugar boogers, then he was crying. It was red stuff everywhere. It was boo-boo everywhere. And they said Diddy does not mind boo-boo and blood stuff. It actually turns him on. I'm sure you guys heard about the men in Dubai. It's a lot of powerful men that are rich, and they love the boo-boo and the shit and all that. It doesn't bother them at all. So they said he was crying. He was hurting, he pain, and Diddy told him, if you ever tell anybody what just happened here, you would never be famous, and I would do something horrible to your parents. And if you love your parents, you know you're going to shut your mouth, right? And the 10-year-old boy was afraid. And they said that the 10-year-old boy did tell his parents after the trauma, but the parents were afraid. The parents feared for their life, and they didn't want to speak out because they was afraid what Diddy would do to them. They heard all these rumors how Diddy was such a gangster and he was such a horrible guy. They didn't want to take any chances. So they just prayed and, asked God to heal that hole, and I guess they took the boy to the hospital. I'm not sure, but I will hope they would have took the boy to the hospital and had it on record. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll see it in the documents, maybe we won't. But those are the two that are speaking out about it. And I got a lot of this information from Popcorn Planet. Shout out to him. He's a YouTuber. And I would love to react to what he's reading word for word, verbatim for verbatim. Okay, so let's look at Popcorn. You guys know I love to react to other YouTube content creations. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. I'm your host, Gigi. Okay, so let's hear what he says, and he's going to pull up the documents and read them verbatim. Okay, so let's hear.
These are lawsuits coming in, civil suits from Tony Busby. He has said there are over 120, several of which include minors. Well, we just received 2 more, one from a 17-year-old and one from a 10-year-old. We're going to call this one the awful one, guys. Hopefully you'll be able to read between the lines and understand that I'm going to try my best to explain, but this one was even hard for me to read. If this one's true, I mean, I don't even know where to begin of where this man needs to be punished. It's not on this realm. It is just unfathomable for me to go through these suits. They're incredibly difficult to read, but I'm going to try to give you a summary of each. We will go into more detail along with other news tomorrow during our live, so make sure you subscribe for that. But let's get to these two because the first one comes in from the 17-year-old who alleges to be part of the Making the Band reality show that aired in 2000 to 2009, following competitive musical groups. Aspiring singers competing for a spot in a new music group. Ultimate goal is to get signed a record deal and achieve fame. You guys all, I'm sure, remember that if you've been following the Diddy case. In around 2008, 17-year-old participated in a 3-day audition for Making the Band, having seen the opportunity online through newspaper advertisements. During this process, the plaintiff advanced to a stage where contestants met individually in private rooms with Combs and his bodyguard. The first day of the audition, during a one-on-one, Combs asked plaintiff hypothetical questions about how to handle pressure. Actually, you know what I'm saying? Combs described these scenarios. He began to essay plaintiff. I don't even know how to read this, guys. Over the clothes, under the clothes, all types of things, touching areas he's not supposed to touch, touching parts he's not supposed to touch. While he did this, he engrossed in continued self-explicitness. Throughout this encounter, Combs emphasized the power to control his future in the music industry, saying he had the ability to make or break plaintiff's career. The second day, plaintiff went through a longer interview process. During this interview, Combs instructed the plaintiff to explaining that he needed to demonstrate some ability to should be a sex symbol, which was purportedly required for the band's image. This encounter eventually escalated to Combs making the plaintiff perform for himself, and then Combs having his way. Combs continued to reiterate the power to control.
So you see how they get you? Okay, how sexy can you be? Take it all off. Once the guy take it all off, okay, I want you to seduce me. Now, if you are a real sex symbol, you should be able to seduce me and get me up and let me nut. Okay. And the 17-year-old boy, he wanted fame so bad, he was willing to jeopardize his values, his morals, and sell his soul for that. And they said that he got on his knees and, getting some head. Diddy some head, was giving, bobbing and weaving on Diddy, okay? And then Diddy had his way, which iterates, the boy became a bottom and Diddy topped the 17-year-old, okay? So And then they say that the security guard started topping too. It was a gang train. Okay. And he's 17, so you know that's illegal on consent. And I don't know what state it is because I know different states they have laws, but the 17-year-old says even if it was in a legal state, he didn't want it. You know, they coerced him. He felt pressured. He felt forced to do all this because he wanted to be famous. And this is what he thought he had to do in order to garnish fame.
Plaintiff's future in the music industry. The third day introduced his bodyguard I into the advances. Combs then framed this as a test, his willingness to do anything necessary to succeed in the music industry. T is the bodyguard. T requested a specific type of performance from the plaintiff on himself. While he complied due to the force, Combs essayed him again, doing more of the same things while also involving the bodyguard. Plaintiff's facial expressions during the ordeal showed his discomfort, hesitation, prompting Combs to express dissatisfaction. Combs stated that plaintiff's demeanor suggested intent to report the incidents. As a result, Combs said he would be keeping an eye on plaintiff. Ultimately, this led to plaintiff's elimination from the competition. Combs claimed the plaintiff was untrustworthy due to his reservations about performing these acts on the bodyguard. As a result of these incidents during the audition process, plaintiff's reactions to them, plaintiff was excluded from further opportunities in the competition and was unable to return to the music industry for 7 years. He continues to deal with mental, emotional anguish from these essays. That's one. And look, it's just like, again, these are all accusations. I just got to say that, guys. Many of you are just going to immediately believe it. I got to wait for due process. Otherwise, I'd be a hypocrite. But it's hard to not accept some of these because, again, of things we've heard for ages. I think about Aubrey O'Day, who talks about her experiences and the things that she had to hide all these years. She's one of the first people out there who really called it out. So, again, that makes the second one here even more disturbing. This one comes in that age. The tough one, the really awful one. As we go in through these details, I don't even think I can put them on screen, guys. Because again, as this headline sort of shows you, it's not just the essay, it's the providing him something so he isn't aware. And the details are just horrific. It's horrific. In 2005, plaintiff, so 20 years ago, plaintiff was 10 years old, interested in becoming an actor and a rapper. Plaintiff lived in Los Angeles and used his proximity to the entertainment industry to secure several acting roles and part in a music video. To help their son's burgeoning career, plaintiff's parents found and hired industry consultant through an internet ad. Consultant recommended that the family visit New York to meet with people in the industry. Plaintiff and his parents flew to New York on around summer of 2005 and stayed in a hotel across from Madison Square Garden. When in New York, plaintiff and his parents met with numerous people within the music industry. Plaintiff participated in photo shoots. During this trip, plaintiff arranged a meeting with Combs for an audition. Combs indicated he wanted to meet with plaintiff alone first, prior to meeting the family. The consultant, without plaintiff's parents, took plaintiff to the purported audition at a hotel in the same general vicinity as plaintiff's hotel. The consultant brought plaintiff to Combs' room, but left him with Combs and told plaintiff that she would be back later. Plaintiff recalls other people in the room or area, but did not know who any of the people were. Plaintiff performed several rap songs for Combs. Combs complimented the rapping and told plaintiff he could make him a star. Combs asked plaintiff how badly he wanted to be a star, and plaintiff said he would do anything. At this point, the other people present gave plaintiff a soda, which he drank. After drinking it, he felt a little funny. Initially thought it was because he was so happy. Based on the information of belief, Combs himself, through agents, put something in there. As we've seen in previous cases. Again, this creates that same pattern. Now, again, these are patterns of allegations. I got to say that legally, but I think most of you are starting to see these photos and these lawsuits and think, well, there is a pattern here that's not too hard to believe. Now, this has happened to many unsuspecting victims, according to the the other cases, and so plaintiff was one such victim. So after the soda, he began feeling the effects. He abruptly pushed plaintiff down and said words to, "You have to do some stuff you don't want to do sometimes." And then once that happened, guys, I don't even know what I can read here. It's really gross, awful, the worst thing you can think of. to this boy. Yeah, I don't even want to read it again, but an essay is what I'm going to tell you. While, you know, out of it from the soda. Around this time, whether there was panic from it circulating in the system or whatever it was, plaintiff lost consciousness. When he woke up, he was crying immediately, you know, with parts already around and hurt. Combs was still present. Plaintiff wanted to see his mom and dad. Combs replied if he told anybody about what happened, he would not be nice to plaintiff's mom and dad. When the consultant came back to get him, she noticed the plaintiff was badly shaken and asked him what was wrong. Plaintiff told her only that he wanted to go back to his mom and dad. Upon the return, his parents immediately noticed he was lethargic and acting differently, although plaintiff ultimately told his parents what happened. Plaintiff and his parents were terrified of the potential consequences of reporting the incident. Plaintiff experienced significant impact from this essay at such an early, you know, age and phase. Plaintiff suffers and continues to from severe depression, anxiety, as you can imagine, leaves him hopeless and fatigued. Situations that remind him of the incident, strong panic. He's been homeschooled because of these behavioral issues that affected relationships. Many of these issues ongoing. His battles, fears, and night terrors regularly. In short, plaintiff was deprived of a normal childhood and is unable to interact with others or live a normal life in general due to this encounter with Combs. Look, if true.